Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've seen any of my other videos. My name is Elizabeth Grace and this is A Room with Perfume, where we talk about all things fragrance. Today I want to talk about my favorite vanilla fragrances, and I will say I love vanilla. It's one of my favorite notes, but I do think I'm quite picky. So this is a curated list of my favorites, and it ranges from pretty realistic vanilla, very gourmand vanilla, to vanilla with other things going on, not super realistic gourmand. I like a range. I enjoy all different kinds of vanillas, and this is a roundup of my favorites. Starting with one that will likely not be a surprise to anybody, Escapade Gourmand by Maison Mataha. If you haven't heard of this, which I'm sure you have at this point, it's so good. Every time I smell this, I just fall in love with it all over again. This is a creme brulee kind of scent, but not like the middle creamy part of the creme brulee. It's like the top of the creme brulee. It's like you took vanilla sugar, like mixed vanilla paste with sugar crystals, sprinkled it over the top of a creme brulee and torched it, and then dusted powdered sugar. That is what this smells like to me. It is so beautiful, and there's this airiness to it, almost even though you have that burnt sugar quality, that like powdered sugar kind of vibe provides this like fluffy, airy component to where this doesn't feel syrupy or dense or heavy to me. It's just deliciously sweet and still feels very elevated. Even though this is a very, in my opinion, very gourmand vanilla, I don't think that this feels boring or juvenile or like something that you would have worn as a teenager, if that makes sense. I think it smells elevated. It's beautiful. Shaad's Lait de Biscuit is another one that I would classify as being more of a realistic gourmand. And this one isn't just vanilla, it's like a vanilla cookie. It is super, super realistic to me. And I think that this is a scent category that so often when I smell what I think is intended to be pastry-like, cookie-like, really realistic gourmand, it just can smell almost plasticky to me. And this one, I don't get that vibe at all. It literally smells, to me it smells like, I don't know, maybe sugar cookies or Biscoff cookies with a slightly lactonic quality as it dries down more. Like a vanilla cookie is what this smells like. And it's very nostalgic. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the most elegant, elevated scent. I think it's fun and very, very cozy and nostalgic. It's actually one of my husband's favorite scents on me, and he's not usually a gourmand person, but it's very cozy. And I love this especially around the holidays because it is just such a comforting gourmand. Dream by the Maker is a recent launch and a recent discovery, and it is fantastic. I have completely fallen in love with it. This is such an elegant gourmand vanilla fragrance. It's got a beautiful, beautiful vanilla bourbon note that somehow feels, I don't know, it feels so elevated to me. There's vanilla bourbon, magnolia, a cinnamon butter note, and when I heard cinnamon butter, I didn't really expect to like this because I don't tend to love cinnamon in fragrances, but this is very, very subtle. To me, this is really a beautiful vanilla bourbon scent that's beautifully rounded, nothing sharp or harsh about this, and just feels very elevated. I think this would make a really perfect signature scent vanilla, actually. Silky Woods by Goldfield and Banks is, to me, the perfect fall-winter vanilla. This is kind of a more dry vanilla. It's not super sweet, not super gourmand. It has this kind of like darker, almost slightly smoky quality. Something about this, I always think of a fall night with a bonfire. Not that it smells like a bonfire, but it just smells like exactly what you'd want to be wearing on an evening where the air has gotten crisp and the leaves are crunchy and there's a bonfire going. This is exactly what I would want to smell like. Zama Bianca, of course. This is one of the most this is such a pretty perfume. It is a fluffy vanilla with powdery purple florals. There's citrus in the opening. I love this. Every time I smell it, this one always gets compliments as well. This is a really, really feminine, pretty year-round vanilla. It has citrus in the opening. It has some purple florals. They're not too powdery, but it does provide that powdery, kind of refined, elegant feel. Feels very feminine, very delicate. And then the vanilla in here is warm, but not a gourmand vanilla. I wouldn't really classify this as being gourmand at all. So if you want a vanilla and you don't want something that feels too food-like or gourmand, I think this one's perfect. So pretty, and it really creates this gorgeous cloud around you. I see some comments about this not lasting well, and I don't know what to tell you, because on me this lasts a long time. On my clothes it lasts a long time, and it gets comments, and I think it creates like a larger scent bubble than I maybe even would expect from the scent profile. So I love this one. I think it is just perfection. Perfect signature scent material, because I think it works so well as a year-round vanilla. It's not too heavy for the summer. I'm afraid I am not going to say this name correctly, but Goutal Nuit et Confidence. This is a stunning, very grown-up vanilla. A deep, dark, dry vanilla. It's not syrupy. It's not super sweet. I love this little poof. It's so fun. Kind of a little bit, oh, I don't know. It feels like a perfect evening fragrance. This feels like a really elevated date night scent to me, but it also does sit quite close to the skin. I will say this one's performance, projection, longevity is not the best. I would say for the most similar scent, I think that in this list would probably be Silky Woods, and it does have better performance and projection than this one. So I guess I could also see this one being a really elevated vanilla for work, in the sense that it's not going to project and scream, and it does feel really elegant. But something about this, I do feel like it lends itself well to the evening. So take from that what you will. It definitely doesn't have crazy performance if you're looking for something like that, but it is a really, really beautiful, very grown-up smelling vanilla with just enough smokiness. Happy Dust by Narcotica is a perfect everyday vanilla in my opinion, because it sits close to the skin, but it is just so lovely and it smells so happy. I guess the name makes sense. This is a really just true vanilla to me. I feel like a lot of the vanillas that I gravitate towards, I would describe as having more of that bourbon vanilla feel that you might get from like a vanilla bourbon extract, like a really high quality, that kind of darker, deeper smell. This one does not have that. This one is a lighter, more just kind of a true vanilla. It doesn't feel powdery, it doesn't feel dark, it doesn't feel super gourmand or pastry-like. It's just a great everyday vanilla with a little tiny hint of a matcha note that kind of gives it overall like a vanilla matcha marshmallow kind of vibe. It is so pretty and so wearable. The matcha is very subtle, so don't expect like a big blast of a green tea earthy matcha. It's just a tiny hint. Mostly this is just a great solid vanilla that sits very close to the skin but does have good longevity, and I think that this would be a perfect like wear to school, wear to work type of vanilla, because it's not going to go crazy on projection, but it smells fantastic. I think this is a perfect staple vanilla. Treasure from Maison Zero. This is my actual obsession. This is my second bottle. I have a backup bottle. I love this. And I was hesitant to put it on this list because while I describe it as being like a vanilla floral, there is a lot else going on. I would say that this is the least vanilla dominant of any of the fragrances on this list. It definitely feels like it's equal parts a light, non-gourmand vanilla with florals, with some ambergris, with a bit of sandalwood. So there's definitely more. This is not a warm, sweet, sugary vanilla. This is a very clean vanilla with beautiful florals. This is perfect signature scent material if you want something that has a bit of vanilla, but you don't want something, again, super gourmand. You want something with some florals. You want something that feels very feminine. I love this so much. Can't recommend it enough. I talk about it all the time, and this is just exactly what I want to smell like. So in particular, in the summer, I feel like if you love vanilla and you love heavier vanilla fragrances in the fall and winter, this in the summer, so perfect. Mon Guerlain, I have gone through quite a bit of this, and I debated on whether or not to include this fragrance because there is, I would say, a lot of lavender in this scent, but I still think of it as a vanilla. This opens with definitely a lot of lavender, and then as it dries down, it is just a really beautiful, kind of linear, comforting vanilla. I don't think that this is a super gourmand vanilla. It's not a powdery vanilla. It's not a really dark, deep vanilla. It's just a really, really beautiful, warm, slightly creamy vanilla with a really, really gorgeous lavender note. I think this is so comforting. I wear this to bed very, very often, and I really want to try the intense version. I feel like I would really enjoy it, and I'm running quite near to the end of this one, so when I run out, I might try the intense. I think that this is just such a cozy fragrance, beautifully done lavender. I love Guerlain fragrances in general, and Guerlain does a beautiful job with vanilla. I think this one is gorgeous. And that's it. That's my list of my top favorite vanilla fragrances.